Rishikesh, set in the beautiful, pristine Himalayan foothills on the beautiful turquoise Ganges River. I'm here because I want to follow the footsteps of my favorite band of all time, the Beatles. Also to pay honor to my late father-in-law and scatter his ashes in the Ganges. But what will happen to me here, given that I was excluded from the temple at Puri? How will I fit in? I'm Jeff.
And I'm Sujatha.
We knew you as Play to Travel.
I was traveling all over the world, but then came the pandemic.
I was traveling too, but I had a stroke in 2016. And now together we're going to travel the world, rediscovering romance and adventure. The Beatles had been to India on 3 different occasions. Once for a very short time when they were on tour in their earlier years, in 1966 again, mostly in Delhi, then a major trip which they took for months in 1968 to Rishikesh. It was to spend time studying with the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi as his disciple in Rishikesh, where his compound was. And it was also, I think, to find more insight themselves.
Why do you like the Beatles, Bear? How much do you like the Beatles?
How much do I like the Beatles? My favorite band of all time. Because I learned to play guitar with the Beatles. I learned how to develop structures and images and metaphors by listening to the Beatles. And the harmonies are incredible. In part it's like the soundtrack of my life.
Do you, sir, propose to play any active part in the propagation of transcendental meditation?
We'll do everything we can, anything that's possible.
I was initially interested in Indian music because the Beatles were interested in it. George Harrison played sitar, and on his second trip to India in 1966, he actually purchased a sitar right in Delhi. Beatles also brought in various Indian forms of music in terms of progressions and styles into their music, even when they didn't use sitar. The first stop was the Beatles Cafe. I've been waiting forever for this. So the Beatles Cafe is kind of hidden off a major route in Rishikesh. You have a retro Beatles type of veneer, Beatles music playing in the background. You can order supposedly Beatles types of lunches and snacks. You're able to look out the window and see just what seemed to me to be the Himalayas. That's in the groove. I can really get into the groove of this place. The landscape was like a dream. Reflections of colors into the river, seeing the Himalayas in the background, and then behind you are the structures of worshippers who come to Rishikesh for their various pilgrimages. And in a certain way, I'd say my life is rather that of a pilgrim. The mysteries of life are revealed to me in some of the simple things one does. One of the ways of confronting life's mysteries is to attend an Aarti. The Aarti was a very colorful, I would say, set of evening prayers, of incantations, recitations leading up to sunset. And it's based right on near the river, in our case in the hotel, with using fire, flower petals, and so on. It's not just about witnessing rituals in your hotel room, you can actually see them right out in the middle of the streets. I saw a wedding just happening in the middle of the street, and I was delighted. I want to get out and join the wedding party. A whole bunch of people, in this case mostly men, who are celebrating 2 drum beats on the street with a big wagon proclaiming the wedding. And it was a big hubbub for everybody who wanted to gather around. And one of the men in the party even shook my hand through the vehicle. Everywhere you look, devout Hinduism permeates this place, even in the food. Even the food in Rishikesh is all vegetarian. It's what you call temple food. It lacks in a certain way the spiciness of other Indian food. Temple food does not have garlic or onion. Alcohol is absolutely not allowed in Rishikesh at all in the entire municipality. Despite this, Western tourists aren't deterred from coming to this place. People do long-term stays, especially at yoga camps, and especially Israelis. There are Jews who go there to visit after they do their service in Israel, who serve their military for 3 years, then try to unwind, so to speak, in Rishikesh. The moment finally came for me to participate in the family rituals, but to do that I had to take my very first rickshaw ride. Well, given my limitation, I was nervous to take rickshaws because I was worried, quite frankly, about falling off and how to get onto it without making a scene in public. So we finally had the opportunity where I could take a rickshaw without everybody staring at me, where I'm self-conscious about my body image in public. So I was able to actually board the rickshaw although I had to kind of bend and contort a little bit, I was able to do it without being looked at by a whole bunch of people, and I was really glad to take the ride. When we were in Puri, I could not enter the temple. I was barred for being non-Hindu. Well, actually, Sujatha was banned from the temple because she was married to a non-Hindu. I was, however, not barred from the rituals that took place at the river, the Ganga. The immediate family, Sujatha, her brother Anil, first cousin Smriti, and her husband and I went to see this happen. I have to say, the Hindu priest, he was the coolest clergyman that I've ever seen in probably 30 years. He drove a scooter. I found it really important to have my picture taken with him because he was a cool guy, let alone being a priest. Well, I went to something that was called Aarti Visurjan. We assembled at the banks of the river, the Ganga, as you say in Hindi, and we committed his ashes to the river itself with certain prayers and incantations. The Brahmin thread, which was tied around my wrist by the priest, represents to me, and that I guess it's Rakhi which ties me to the family. To me it was a great honor. I like the idea of a family. There's something very special about it. Being part of the ceremony was a way of me solidifying my relationship with family. It was not too difficult to understand Aarti Visurjan, as I said, committing the ashes to the river. Because in several religions, water represents, it's almost like an archetype for ritual in several ancient traditions. So in this ceremony, the water is used to take the ashes out to basically eternity, how it's represented in the flow of water around the world. It also represents the release of the soul from the body returning to nature, but the soul ascending above and beyond. My late father-in-law, Vinay, represented many things I actually believed in very deeply, such as the almost unity of people, the idea that there should be no arbitrary hierarchy of cultures or religions. He was really against that, and I felt very good about that. And Rishikesh seemed to me to be a very inclusive place where everybody, if they so desired, go and participate in whatever is being offered there. Even Hinduism, even very special rituals.
Come travel with us. Please subscribe to our channel, Fierce Travel.
So do it.